What's up? It's your host, Barber. Before we get started, make sure you subscribe and ring the little bell right there at the bottom to the right. And today we're in Reading, Pennsylvania. We're gonna interview Joel, the founder of the lineup Barber magazine, and pretty much we're gonna interview him, and then he's gonna do an article about us. So, hey, barbers, people, whoever's watching, make sure you network and build relationships, because you don't know, you never know. It might open up a door. Keeping it glorious, watch the whole episode.
Getting up every day. 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 Getting up, level up, give a fuck what you say. Getting up, level up, give a fuck what you say.
Well, first of all, my name is Joel Ramos, aka Barber Bunks. The name Bunks is actually shortened for Bunko. Nobody knows what it means. All I know is that when I was born, my aunt called me Bonquito. So what I like to say is it means big dark one. Doesn't mean nothing. Yeah. Nobody knows. Doesn't matter. It's who I am. So, Reading, Pennsylvania, was born and raised here since 1979. Then moved away to Lancaster. Lived in Lancaster for about 12 years of my life, where actually I sharpened and honed my craft for barbering there. I actually went to Lancaster School of Cosmetology, where I actually fell more in love with the art of cutting hair, even though they taught you different things and stuff like that. But they knew the road of cosmetology wasn't what I was going to do. They knew that I was just going to be in barbering. So once I graduated school, Leo Rodriguez of DFB Studios gave me an opportunity to work for him. He had started a men's grooming department at DFB Studios, where I worked there for about a year and a half. And I believe he wanted to move to Florida, so then he shut down everything. And then I was looking for work, and then Amit Corso then gave me an opportunity to work for him at the Cutting Edge Barbershop. I remember one story of the first day I was working there. It was the first day that he was open. I walk in and all the lights are off, and he's standing there and he's shaking his head, and he's like, and I go, what's wrong? And he was like, the power's out. Here somebody had backed their truck into the power line, knocked all the power out for his first day. So it was the first day we were out for about 3 hours, got the power up running, and then we were ready for business. One of the greatest times of my life, because I learned so much from him. By the third year, he had hired on a lot more barbers. So the money kind of got a little scarce, because then you were a walk-in barber, and then you had to share different walk-ins with certain people. And I had a kid on the way, so I knew something had to change. So I was like, all right, there's got to be another opportunity to make more money for myself. And then at my cousin's wedding, they kept saying that a good friend of ours named Eric Rodriguez, who was the owner of Mike and Joe's, said he wanted to talk to you. So I said, okay. So I went up to Eric and I said, hey, what's going on? And he had said something that stuck with me in my head, and it still stays with me to this day. He said, look, I'm not looking for someone to work with me. For me, I'm looking for someone to work with me. And that stuck with me. I was like, all right, he's not looking for an employee. He's looking for someone that's going to work side by side with him. And it wasn't anything like, oh, I'm going to go in there and buy into the barbershop. And that wasn't the offer that was on the table. Not right away. So I thought about it I said, let me sit on it for a couple weeks. 2 weeks at the most, was it? And at the time, my son's mom, her stepfather and brother were both killed in a car accident going back from a funeral. So it was there was a lot of stuff going on at the time. And I really trusted, her stepdad with everything. He was so business oriented. He was very intelligent when it came to that. So I remember opening a new pack of Degree deodorant. It was a dual pack. So it was two of them in one. So I had, looked up and I said, all right, God, give me some kind of sign that maybe this is the best decision for me. And then when I felt like maybe he may not give me the answer, I said, all right, Jim, maybe you can give me an answer or whatever. Somebody give me something. So I remember opening the pack, and as soon as I opened the pack, it was laser printed on the deodorant. And my hand to God on this one, it said, go for it. Yeah. It said, go for it. So I looked at it and I was like, whoa. So quickly put the thing on, put the cap back on. I said, I'm not using this deodorant. Never gonna use it. Never found it again or whatever. Kind of lost it. But quickly got on the phone with Eric and I said, yo, E, see you in 2 weeks. And hung up the phone. One of the best decisions in my life to come back and work at home. I'm closer to my family now, so I could be, at a hop, skip, and a jump. I'm at my parents' house, if they need me. With my dad suffering from cancer right now, it's a lot easier for me to get to him. Recently got remarried and I have 3 kids. I have my son from the previous, then I have our daughter, and then we have our baby boy Chasen, which we call him Baby Hulk, and he's amazing. He saved our lives. That's the way me and my wife look at it. He saved our lives. Barbering saved my life professionally, but then like in my whole my personal life, my son, he saved it. Yeah, because he's just an amazing little boy. So I'm pretty sure like a lot of barbers can relate to being parents. And they say, you know what, our kids saved our lives, because we do what we do for them. So it's pretty dope that we are blessed to do what we do. We never changed it. Like, we just felt like it's been through a lot. And it's seen a lot. And we love it. It's our pole, man. Everybody's like, oh, we're all into the new poles. And nah, that's our pole, man. We're proud of that shit.
That's what's up, because like when we first pulled up, like, what's up with that pole?
Yeah, man, that's our pole. It has tape around it. It's been beaten, it's been battered. We call it the Rocky of poles, It's the Rocky Balboa, but it's still there, it's still hanging. We love it.
Rocky Balboa pole.
The Rocky Balboa, there you go.
Yeah. So how long has this sound been here?
Mike and Joe's has been here since 1961. One of the longest standing barbershops in Berks County and in the city of Reading. 2 owners, Mike Screpsey and Joe DiMaria, were the former owners. Joe then opened up his shop in about 20 minutes from here in Ole, and then had an opportunity to sell his half to Thad Haynes. Thad Haynes and then Mike Screpsey worked together for a few years. I don't know a lot of the history of Mike and Joe's, but I will tell you what I do know. Then Thad was going to move out to California and then sold it to Eric. And now Eric is the owner along with Mike Screpsey. Eric is here full time. Mike comes in part time. It's one of the longest standing shops, like I said before. I've been here 11 of those great years. So 11 of the 60 that I've been here. So it's been an amazing ride. I appreciate the time that I've helped grow this business too. So we've grown a lot. We've come a long way. A lot of barbershops within the city of Reading are around. There are a lot of talented barbers within the city, and for us to still be here is a blessing. We're happy, man. I think we give our clientele and a different type of a feel when it comes to cutting hair. Like I said, they leave with a lasting memory, and the stuff that they take home with them. Like the kids will grow up and they might talk to their dad because they came with their dad and said, that joke that Bunko said or that joke that Eric said that was funny, wasn't it, Dad? They're talking about it. Mom is like, what are you talking about? Man, you had to be there. And that's the thing, we treat the shop like Vegas, where what happens in here stays in here. Nothing bad ever happens, but it's a brotherhood. It's like a fraternity almost. Like everybody. We've seen a lot of kids grow up to become men and become fathers. We've seen that. We've seen a lot of kids, go to kindergarten. We cut their hair for the first day of school, and then we cut their hair for graduation. Like in this business, that's huge. Like we feel a part of their lives just as much as they're of ours. And as we get older, you'll see a lot of clients come and go. But the ones that leave, we always want them to kind of sit back and go, you know what? I remember when I went to Mike and Joe's. I remember when Bunko cut my hair or something like that, and all the fun times I had. I said, all right, as long as I left a lasting memory in your mind and in your heart, then I did my job. So. Pretty much, this is our wall here of achievements that we have accomplished here at Mike and Joe's. We've always been really big on giving back. We always felt that being blessed to do what we do, we should be blessed to bless other people. Our first charity event actually started with our really good friend Elvis and his dog Bones, who recently he had to put down. Bones got an eye infection, which affected his sight, and the surgery to regain it was actually really, really expensive. So we took it upon ourselves to raise some money within the shop. And then we were able to come up with the money and give Elvis and Bones the opportunity to see again. Once we did that, we felt that we can go a little bit further than that. So what we ended up doing was that we actually held our first charity softball game for the Animal Rescue League here in Berks County. Once that charity was over, that event was over, then we moved over and we raised money for the American Cancer Society. A really good friend of ours, Cool Monty, suffered from lymphoma. And we had 4 teams in a little tournament, and we raised enough money for the American Cancer Society. That was a really big and important part of our event. Our final event that we had was for the March of Dimes. This was really significant for both me and Eric because both of us had experienced premature births within our family. Eric's grandson, and then my niece, and then a cousin of mine, where we had the teams again played each other, teams of 4. We raised close to $8,000 in one afternoon with raffles and everything else. It was a pretty great event. A lot of people had showed up, showed a lot of love. And during that event, we had a proclamation from the actual city of Reading where they showed us all of our accolades. And this was an emotional time for me because as the mayor was reading off all the stuff that we did, I started to kind of tear up and I ended up crying. I don't know why, but I just did. It was just one of those things, I guess, from all the stuff that we did, and I didn't realize what we were actually doing or the actual capacity of what we did. With all of us raising the money and what we did for that day, we actually beat out Kmart in Berks County for the top supporter in 2014. And like the man said, I guess we were the ones that took Kmart out. So sorry, Kmart. This third station right here is actually by a very talented barber named Darwin. Darwin is freshly out of school. And I said, like I told before, he was very meticulous, very hands-on. He's very catering to his client like I've never seen anybody. I wish I had that type of ability to want to actually care for my client the way he does. Gilbert Guilty Hands Nazario, another talented barber, very hands-on. He's a caterer to his client, takes his time. He's very up and coming because his book keeps growing and growing and growing. And in this first station, this is actually Barber 828, actually Eric Rodriguez. He has worked alongside with everyone. He's a great teacher. Like just by listening to certain things that he says, it's like you can soak up a lot of stuff from him. He's very, very intelligent when it comes to just the business aspect of barbering. And he's a great dude. He's been one of my best friends for, we worked together side by side 11 years. And then I've known him a lot longer than that. So we've been close. He's the godfather of Chasen. So couldn't ask for a better person and a better partner in business. So I'm blessed to have him in my life. The only thing serious about this barbershop is the work, the haircuts. Everything else is just so our neighbors. Those are our security guards at the barbershop. They watch our shop during the night. So they're good people. So, but our shop is so fun and lively. Like right now it seems quiet, but come tomorrow it's not. We're always at a 10 decibel 10, always. So we have a lot of fun. I love these guys. I wouldn't ever like turn my back on them. They're my brothers. So I love them. The Barber magazine just came out of nowhere. It was just an idea that I had late at night. I had found a love for photography by help promoting the Berks County Barber Battle. And then my wife saw that I had this love for it. She went and bought me my first camera. So I went and started taking pictures of different things here and there. And I was bored. Once the Berks County Barber Battle was done, I was bored. So I'm sitting there and I just kept complaining and bitching and moaning and saying I was bored. She just kept getting annoyed with me. She's like, go to the gym. That's what you like to do. Go do that. And then when I came home, she said, how do you feel? She said, I'm still bored. So she was like, oh my God. So we went down and we were laying in bed, and I had jumped out of bed and I said to her, I got it. I want to do a magazine. And she was like, what do you mean? I said, I want to do pictures, but not of haircuts. I want the story of the journey before the chair. Like, everyone sees the barber with the, thousands and thousands of followers. Everybody sees it. Everybody sees that he's traveling or she's traveling or what have you, but they don't know what they did to get there. So I wanted to get that story. I wanted to capture that before they got before they got behind the chair. So she was like, okay, well, what are you gonna call it? I said, I don't know. And I'm gonna be real honest. I said, I gotta go take a shit. So when I went into the bathroom and I came out, I had the logo and the name. So she looked at it. She was like, what? I said, yeah, this is it. So she was like, that's crazy. And it was just called The Lineup Barbers of Berks magazine. And then a friend of mine, Charles C. Wright, PA grooming specialist, hit me up and said, is it just for local barbers? So he lit the light bulb, and I was like, you know what? No, it's not. So we ended up changing the name to The Lineup Barber magazine. We opened it up, and the floodgates just took off. Everybody's like, hey, we want to be a part of it. So we ended up having to pick certain barbers, but the first issue needed to just be the local homegrown barbers from here. And then I would just then grow as time went on from issue to issue. The first one, of course, Eric was our feature. He told his story. We had barbers like Ryan Tierson, Chris Osorio. We just had Joe the hair surgeon. We had some really, now Joe the hair surgeon he's huge. This guy is traveling all over the place. He's a sponsored barber by Maestro Classic. He's a sponsored for Hanzo Shears, and he's traveling pretty much the nation teaching shear class. And I'm like, he's like he's a brother from another mother. That's the way I look at it, because we've been so close for years. I cut his hair, so we were we were tight to begin with. So to see him grow into who he is today, from where he was, and I was like, man, it's huge. And we had him before he actually blew up. So now he's an amazing barber. But the magazine, once we did that and got our second issue and our third issue, and then we just finished our fourth issue with the finest barbers. Our third issue actually took us international, where we had Australia and barber from England. We had barbers from there. So we went international in less than a year. We're not the biggest magazine company out there. We know that there's others like Barber Evo, Barber Envy, and Modern Barber. They're all overseas barbers that Evo recently just came over to the States, and we know that. And we like to consider ourselves like the people's magazine, where we're not going to go after the bigger names. We're not going to go after the sharks. We rather go for the schools of fish. We don't want 100,000 followers. We want 100,000 believers.